Welcome to this week's edition of the Comic Hero Show. I'm your host, Victor Nunley, and I am the Comic Hero. You like this jersey? Well, I designed it myself. As a matter of fact, I also designed a football jersey and a baseball jersey. And this past weekend, on the Comic Hero Fan Forum page, which is my page on Facebook, I set up a poll, and I gave all those that liked the page the opportunity to vote on which jersey they wanted to see. And a majority of them voted on this jersey, and again, just like I said on the special report, the reveal special report that I did on the Comic Hero fan page last night, um, I'm gonna wear those jerseys. Those other two jerseys, the baseball jersey and the football jersey, I will wear them, just not today. So I'm gonna let y'all check out this jersey. See, here's the front. And here is the back. Awesome, huh? A lot of y'all are probably wondering why number 16. Well, the number 16 means a lot to me. I began reading and collecting comics when I was 16. I truly, madly, deeply fell in love with someone for the first time when I was 16. Um, My dad passed away when I was 16. I began playing the piano at my home church, the Mount Pisgah CME Church of Homer, when I was 16, and I began playing the piano at the Lane Chapel CME Church of Homer when I was 16. So the number 16 means a lot, as I said before. All right, I have a few things to talk about, so without further ado, let the ranting begin.
What you talking about, Willis?
First thing I want to rant about is the fact that the NFL commissioner, Roger Goodell, is doing absolutely nothing about Indianapolis Colts owner Jim Irsay. In case you don't know, a few weeks ago, Jim Irsay was arrested and charged with DUI, which stands for driving under the influence. And Roger Goodell hasn't done anything about it. Now, this is a commissioner who, he lays down the law like no other commissioner in any sports franchise. And he prides himself on protecting the shield. And he instituted a personal conduct policy in the NFL. And that just doesn't go for players, it also goes for anyone within the organization, including owners. There have been, since he became the commissioner in the NFL almost a decade ago, there have been a lot of suspensions and a lot of fines handed down by him because players and coaches and other personnel have ended up doing things that they should not have done. I don't know why Jim Irsay is any different. He isn't. So Roger Goodell, if you're watching this, to paraphrase something that Oprah said to a certain celebrity a few weeks ago, you need to get your stuff together. You're the commissioner of the National Football League. You have instituted a personal conduct policy, not towards just the players, not towards just the coaches, but anyone within any of the 32 organizations. You need to lay down the law on Jim Irsay, just like you have laid down the law on all those other coaches, players, and personnel within each of the teams in the NFL. Just saying. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is the Guardians of the Galaxy movie, which is coming out in August. There are a lot of people that are pretty much writing off this movie months before it even comes out. And I think I know the reason why they're writing it off because the Guardians of the Galaxy they're not really a team. I mean, they're not the characters in the book. They're not up there with Captain America, Spider-Man, X-Men, Fantastic Four, the Avengers. And there's not a huge following. I mean, there's a small following. As a matter of fact, they've gotten a little light, in the Marvel universe. As a matter of fact, they were on an episode of Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes and Ultimate Spider-Man. Um, but then there are still a lot of people who don't know who they really are. So, with that being said, I want to start a new segment, and the segment is called Comicology 101. So let's get it started. Welcome to Comicology 101. In this segment, we'll be learning about different characters in the world of comics. This week, we'll be learning about the members of the Guardians of the Galaxy. Up first is Star-Lord. Star-Lord, whose real name is Peter Quill, is the leader of the Guardians of the Galaxy. He is a human-alien hybrid. Star-Lord's father, Jason of Spartax, an alien with a human appearance, crashes on Earth and strikes up a relationship with Peter's mom, Meredith Quill. He leaves her a short time later with his gun and pregnant with his child. 10 years later, Meredith is killed by members of the alien race known as the Badoon. Peter kills both assassins with a single shotgun blast, then finds the alien gun in his mom's closet. Realizing that the alien ship is about to attack, Peter gets out of his house just before it's destroyed. Believing that they had killed their target, the alien ship leaves. After being found by the authorities, who believe the Quill house was destroyed by a gas leak explosion, Peter is taken to a hospital where a nurse brings him the only thing that survived the explosion, his space toy, which is Jason's gun. Star-Lord is a master strategist and problem solver who is an expert in close-quarter combat, various human-alien firearms, battle techniques, and has an extensive knowledge of various alien customs, societies, and cultures, as well as various knowledge about cosmic abstracts. As Star-Lord, he wears a suit that grants augmented strength and durability and the ability to travel through space. The character also uses an element gun, a special meta pistol capable of projecting one of 4 elements: air, earth, fire, and water. Star-Lord also shares a psychic link with his sentient space vessel, Ship. Up next is Gamora. Gamora is the last of her species, the Zinhubiri, who were exterminated by the Badoon. Thanos found the child and decided to use her as a weapon. Gamora was raised and trained by Thanos to assassinate the Magus, an evil alternate version of Adam Warlock. Thanos showed her little kindness during her childhood, but Gamora was very loyal to the man who promised her the opportunity to avenge the deaths of her family. Gamora became very proficient in the martial arts, earning the nickname the deadliest woman in the whole galaxy. When she was a teenager, Thanos took her on a trip to Tartula No. 7. Gamora disobeyed Thanos' orders, and due to this came into conflict with a group of thugs. She was greatly outnumbered, and despite her skills was beaten and then raped by the assailants. Thanos found her half dead, and in turn murdered all her assailants, and restored her to health, cybernetically enhancing her to superhuman levels. Gamora's powers and abilities are enhanced speed, strength, agility, and durability due to the treatment she received from Thanos. Thanos also helped her become a formidable hand-to-hand combatant, trained in the martial arts techniques from various planets, in the uses of the known weaponry of the Milky Way galaxy, and stealth techniques. She is also a highly skilled gymnast and assassin, and formerly possessed a telepathic link to Thanos. She uses a wide variety of weaponry, most notably a dagger, whose known properties made it capable of slaying even beings of such godlike power as Thanos and the Magus. Next up is Rocket Raccoon. Rocket Raccoon acts as the guardian of the Keystone Quadrant, an area of outer space sealed off from the rest of the cosmos by the so-called Galatian Wall. Rocket comes from the planet Half-World in the Keystone Quadrant, an abandoned colony for the mentally ill, where the animal companions were genetically manipulated to grant them human-level intelligence and bipedal body construction for many to become caretakers of the inmates. Rocket was Half-World's chief law officer, or ranger, who protected the colony against various threats. Rocket Raccoon possesses the normal attributes of an Earth Raccoon, including speed, which has been additionally amplified by his training, an acute sense of smell, sight, hearing, and touch. He is an accomplished starship pilot, an excellent marksman with the two laser pistols he carries, as well as having an affinity for heavy weapons. He is also an excellent military tactician and leader, attributes that help him take charge of the Guardians of the Galaxy when Star-Lord is unavailable. And whatever you do, and I mean whatever you do, don't call him a raccoon. That's a fate worse than death. Next up is Drax. While driving through a desert with his wife and daughter, Arthur Douglas's car is attacked by a spaceship piloted by Thanos, who thinks the humans have seen them. Needing a champion to combat the threat from Thanos, Mentor and the Titan god Cronus captured Douglas's spirit and placed it in a powerful new body. He is rechristened Drax the Destroyer, and his sole purpose is to kill Thanos. Drax's powers initially included superhuman strength, stamina, and resistance to physical injury, as well as the ability to project concussive blasts of cosmic energy from his hands. He can also travel at high speeds in outer space and hyperspace without air, food, or water. Drax also possessed the ability to sense the presence of Thanos across vast distances. At one point, he had seemed to have died, but was later resurrected. Since then, his physical capabilities are greatly enhanced beyond their original levels, but he suffered severe mental disability in his new incarnation. Instead of his ability to sense Thanos across vast distances, he now possessed the ability to sense when beings have been in recent contact with Thanos, and a precognitive ability to sense when beings will be in contact with Thanos in the near future. Last up is Groot. Groot is an extraterrestrial plant monster who initially came to Earth seeking humans to capture and study. However, he was seemingly destroyed by termites. Zimnu made a duplicate of Groot that was used to fight the Hulk, but the Hulk destroyed the duplicate. Through unknown means, he was later captured by S.H.I.E.L.D. and assigned to their paranormal containment unit, nicknamed the Howling Commandos. Groot played a part in the miniseries Annihilation Conquest, in which time he may be the last remaining member of his race. Groot seemingly died buying his team some time to escape the battle. However, he survived as a sprig offshoot. In time, he regenerated his body from the twig, growing back to full size, and participated in an assault on the Babel Spire. When the original plan of laying explosives in the spire failed, Groot was forced to sprout inside the spire, growing to a colossal size and filling a large portion of the building. Mantis was able to remix his sap in a way to make it extremely flammable, and again Groot sacrificed his life for his friends, igniting himself, the resulting fire destroying the Babel Spire. A cutting of Groot was kept by Rocket Raccoon, though he was able to regrow. And he joined the Guardians of the Galaxy and began regrowing under the care of Mantis. During his time with the Guardians of the Galaxy, Groot took part in all the team's missions, taking on threats like the Badoon, Blastar, the Negative Zone Forces, the Shi'ar, the Magus, and the Cancerverse. During his battle with the Badoon, a rising threat in the galaxy, Groot aided the team by destroying a first-generation Badoon monster, a giant mechanoid made from the corpses of the Badoon's fallen enemies. Groot can absorb wood as food with the ability to rebuild himself and enhance his strength. He can control trees using them to attack others, and also appears to be resistant to fire. He is able to sprout dramatically, increasing his mass, but also severely inhibiting his movement. And he will only say 3 words: I am Groot. And there you have it. Comicology 101 on Guardians of the Galaxy. And there it is. The first segment of Comicology 101. And I hope to do more in future episodes. If you have any idea of any superheroes or any characters in the DC or Marvel universe you want me to do a segment on Comicology 101, just let me know. Okay? Now, let's get to the comics I bought today. Comic books I bought today! Before I start with the comics I bought today, I went to Excalibur Comics in Shreveport on Sunday afternoon, and I actually bought some comics there. So that being said, I'm going to be revealing some comics that I bought then and some comics that I bought today at Clint's Comics. All right, first up, the comics that I bought from Excalibur Comics in Shreveport. All right, first up are Avengers Worlds number 2 and 3. And in this one, the spotlight in number 2, the spotlight's put on the Avengers member named Smasher, and we also learn more about her past. And the next one is number 3 is going to put the spotlight on Shang-Chi, and we're going to learn some things about his past. Now, Smasher, um, she's human, but she was actually given superpowers and trained by an alien race. And Shang-Chi, he's the ultimate kung fu master. I mean, this guy could probably put Bruce Lee in the hospital. I know that's something that y'all could frown upon, but that's just my honest opinion. If Shang-Chi was a real person. All right, up next are Avengers numbers 25 and 26. Now, it looks like Marvel's trying to do the same thing with the five original Avengers that they did with the five original X-Men and bring them from the past to the present. But this may be a hoax. This may not be the five original Avengers, but I can't wait to find out whether it is or not. All right, up next are Nova's number 12 and 13. Now, in the last issue of Nova, number 11, um, Sam Alexander, aka Nova, going is slowly but surely regaining his eyesight after becoming blind due to using his powers in space and fighting bad guys. And I really don't know what's going to happen in this issue, number 12, but in 13, the coverage it pretty much speaks for itself. He's either going to fight or going to be teaming up with Beta Ray Bill. Now, Beta Ray Bill at one point is well, technically a mutant horse, and at one point he was Thor, or better yet, I wouldn't say Thor, but more like he was wielding Thor's hammer called Mjolnir. And not to mention that Beta Ray Bill is also the significant other to Thor's ex, Lady Sif. All right, up next is Superboy numbers 27 and 28. Now, as I've said before, this is not the Superboy or the same Superboy that was in the very first few issues of the book. This is actually John Lane Kent. We find out in earlier in Superboy number 0 that, or rather, Superboy number 19, that the Superboy in a previous issues of this book is actually a clone of Superman and Lois Lane's son, John Lane Kent, from a previous timeline. And earlier, or rather in Teen Titans Annual number 1, Superboy ends up going, or John ends up going to the the universe that the previous Superboy is in, and he beats him up, and then ends up taking, I mean, ripping his clothes off and then putting them on. And that other Superboy, well, he teamed up with Superman and Supergirl in in the Krypton Return story arc and died at the very end. So right now, John is now Superboy, but nobody else knows that, and it's only a matter of time before he goes running to Daddy and Mommy. Up next is New Warriors number 1. This is I think the third or fourth volume of New Warriors. The only reason I'm reading it is because Justice, Speedball, Nova, and Scarlet Spider are in the book. And I can tell you right now that in the Marvel Universe, I don't think they can handle or they want to put up with another New Warriors team because the last team, they were a team, but they also had a reality show. And they just went around beating up bad guys on live camera for the world to see. And and then they ended up finding some bad guys, finding this one guy named Nitro, who ends up killing half of them, and that's when the Civil War got started. All right, up next is Fantastic Four #1. This is the fifth volume of the current Fantastic Four series. Um, they return back to Earth after being in space for or being in the cosmic space for so long. But the one thing that has me puzzled is that the first story arc in this book is called "The End of the Fantastic Four," and I can't wait to read it. All right, up next is Amazing X-Men number 4. This is part 4 of the opening story arc called "The Quest for Nightcrawler." Now they find out that Nightcrawler was alive, and they've gone to go after him, but along the way they also have to fight Nightcrawler's father, who is a demon. Now, keep in mind, Nightcrawler is half demon. His mother is, of course, Mystique of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. All right, up next is Teen Titans number 26. Now, this issue is, we find out more about Kid Flash. We also find out that his real name is not Bart Allen; it's actually Bart Tor. And they find out this while they're in a while he and the Teen Titans are in another dimension fighting for their lives. And this was the aftermath of them, excuse me, being ousted in the very first issue of the miniseries Forever Evil. And the series, from my understanding, is actually going to be ending next month. But I wonder what's going to happen with all of them when it ends. All right, up next is Iron Man number 21. Now this is part of the Iron Metropolitan story arc, and we find out a lot now. Before, in the previous story arc, the secret origin of Tony Stark, we find out that Tony was adopted, that he's not really a Stark, and that he also finds out that he has a half or a stepbrother named Arno Stark, who is actually Howard and Maria's only child, and he was in a vegetative state his entire life, and and in this story arc, Tony finds ways to help him uh, get his life together, and also he's building a city out of where the classic villain the Mandarin used to live. But then we find out that by judging by his cover that the Mandarin may not have died after all. I can't wait to read it and find that out, because if the Mandarin really is alive, then boy, Iron Man. I mean, Iron Man's going to have a lot more on his plate, including trying to find out who his real parents are. And finally, Flash number 25. Now this is a tie-in to the Batman story arc called Zero Year, in which we find out the Batman's um, first crusades when he sees over Gotham, and Barry Allen. Now, keep in mind, Barry Allen was not the Flash at the time Batman showed up in Gotham City. He was Barry Allen was just a police scientist, and he was assigned to look for some clues in Gotham City. Even in the midst of of a superstorm that's about to hit. All right, that's it for all the comics I bought at Excalibur Comics. Now for the comics I bought today at Clint's Comics. First up is are Nova's numbers 14 and 15. Now, in number four, now I okay, for all right, I just said that I bought Nova's numbers 12 and 13. Well, I haven't read those, and I haven't read, so I definitely haven't read any of these. But I will let you know what happens in the pages of Nova in a future episode. Up next is Avengers number 27. Now this is part three of the all new Avengers story arc that started number 25, and the five original Avengers, along with the Avengers of today, are fighting a, I guess, some kind of some villain that can replicate all the powers of all the Avengers combined, and and I can't wait to read this either. It's going to be great. I mean, Jonathan Hickman writing this book has not disappointed at all. Up next is Flash number 29. In this issue and the two previous issues, he's going up against some baddie who who wants to who says that who I guess he's the one who was responsible for the death of Barry Allen's mother and not his father. And the Flash, along with the help of the classic uh, DC hero Deadman, are both going after him and to stop him, and not only to stop him, but to go back to the past and prevent him from killing his mother. That way, his father won't be in jail and all that happened. But I don't know if who's to say that if that happens, if he defeats him or stops him from killing his mother, who's to say he won't become the Flash? Sometimes, to I guess in situations like that, you go try to stop something that happened to your past. You may alter some other things. Up next is Teen Titans number 29. This is the penultimate issue, or for all of you who don't know what the word penultimate means, it means next to last. And they're in, the Titans are still again in big trouble with these folks that they found in another dimension, and they're fighting for their lives to not only defeat them but to get back to their own universe. And I can't wait to read this either. This is uh, I mean, how do you end a Teen Titans book after 30 issues? I don't understand that. Well, that's the business for you. Up next is Superman number 29. Now, now in this cover, you're thinking, wait, what? Superman going up against Firestar? Wait a minute, I thought Firestar was a bad guy. Well, so did I. But you have to also remember that Firestar is also the member of a renegade group led by the Red Hood, aka Jason Todd, called Red Hood and the Outlaws. And some of the things that they've done um, really don't appear to be good doing to some of the heroes in the DC universe. And so they've been considered vigilantes, and everyone from Superman to Green Lantern has tried to put them to justice with no but with no prevail. All right, next up is Green Lantern number 29. Um, Now, in previous issues, the villain known as Relic had pretty much taken out the entire Blue Lantern Corps, and he destroyed the central power battery on Oa, causing the planet Oa to explode. And right here, Saint Walker, who is the leader of the Blue Lanterns, he's dealing with the aftermath of all that and trying to pick up the pieces. Now, one thing that this is something else I'm going to rant about, but I seriously think that there should be a Blue Lanterns book, but with the Blue Lanterns all destroyed, with the exception of Saint Walker, I don't know if that's going to happen, but I think it'd be so cool for there to be a Blue Lanterns book. I mean, after all, there are like three Green Lanterns books in there, and then the Red Lanterns have their own book, and then Larfleeze has his own book, and then next month Sinestro's going to have his own book. So not the Blue Lanterns. Hope prevails. That's just saying, by the way. All right, up next is X-Men #9. Um, I really don't have a lot to say about this book. Only that Monet, former member of X Factor, has joined the ranks of the X-Men. Now, keep in mind, these are the X-Men. These are female members, and they're on Wolverine's side of the fence, not Cyclops' side. So they're pretty much trying to save a world that protects and hates them, whereas Cyclops group is pretty much um, wanted to start a mutant revolution. Oh, and also in the very first issue of X Men, we also find out that Jubilee returns, but she adopted a kid, or adopted a baby rather. All right, up next is Amazing X Men #5. This is the conclusion to the quest for Nightcrawler, and it all comes down to this: are they going to defeat Nightcrawler's father, or are they gonna fall? Well, come on, this is the X Men. They always come out on top. Some may get injured, some may get hurt, or some may be knocking on death's door, but they always come out on top. And finally, the Superior Spider-Man #30. This is the penultimate issue to this book, and I cannot wait for it to end. This is the conclusion to the story arc Goblin Nation, in which Norman Osborn, aka the Green Goblin, has started a cult of goblins and in the New York Underground and have taken over New York. And Spider-Man, aka the aka Peter Parker, or should I say, Dr. Otto Octavius. Of course, as I've said before, Dr. Otto Octavius is inside Peter Parker's body. But in the issue's darkest hours, uh, Peter Parker, ends up in his own. We start seeing Peter Parker's mind, um, along with Otto Octavius's mind. He's slowly but surely starting to remember who he is and starting to regain control of his body. So it all comes down to this. And I can't wait to read this, and I can't wait for this series to start, because next month, The Amazing Spider-Man #1, Volume 2 comes out, and Peter Parker is going to be in full control. All right, that's all the comics I bought. That's wow, how many did? Oh, that's 24, which brings the total of comics that I bought that I have in my collection to 6,149. Well, I hope you enjoyed this week's jam-packed episode of the Comic Hero Show. There is so much more that I want to do with this show. And I mean, I can think of as many ideas as I want. But if you have anything you want to see on the show, or any other ideas that you may have, come on, let me know. I've been saying this since the first episode, and I seriously, I mean it. I mean, yeah, I think this show is better than every other episode that I've done. But I don't want it to stay that way. I want it to get even better. And I've said, and what I'm about to say next, I've said on several episodes as well. But we miss out on so many opportunities because we tend to settle, or we'll get to a certain point and just stay there. I don't want to do that. I want to get better. All right. Next week, I haven't decided yet, but I will be wearing one of the other two jerseys I designed, either the baseball jersey or the football jersey. Of course, if knowing one of my fellow band members in ULM, Nate Nasworthy, he's probably going to want me to wear a football jersey. As a matter of fact, he tried to get me to wear it anyway, but no, that wouldn't be fair to everyone that voted for the basketball jersey because there were more they've because there were 6 people that voted, which is 4 more than who voted for the football jersey. I mean, just like the song goes, you got to give the people what you got to give the people what they want, and that's what I'm doing for y'all. I'm giving you what you want. All right, so that's all the time I have. I'm Victor Nully. I am the comic hero. We'll see you next week. Till then, be safe, be blessed, be a hero.